Lion Squad, what's good, peoples? Yeah, it's been a minute. Right? But there, man, me not going nowhere. Just over upon the TikTok space there, you see me? Lion Squad upon the TikTok, you know? At Circuit 876. I go on, deal with Naya case, you know? People have asked me to take it up, you see? So I just that me do me take it up and you see? And I work it out, help the people and work it out, you see? But me there, me I gone away. No worry, later on me I gonna do a live marathon, you see? The body can roll in. You see me? A couple of hours on the live. Cause me see the text them man, I get the message them say, yo, where you there, Q? But I gone nowhere, man, me there. But anyway, we check out this little piece here, about Andrew and Jamaica charting its own path. I thought that's what he came up to speak about when he was introduced, but instead, I noticed his focus was on gang and the war on gangs, and he's comparing the gangs to terrorists and terrorism. I got issue with that. One of the reasons is because, when you say things like war on gangs, I don't hear that. I don't hear war on gangs. I hear war on young black youth. That's what I hear when I hear people like Andrew and leaders like him, take those positions. So we're going to look at this, check out this little piece here, and then may I forward back and give my take on it down. Yeah. So let's check this out, my peoples. In the meantime, Lion Squad, don't know,
The land I love, Jamaica, Jamaica. Jamaica is our paradise, paradise. Jamaica is our paradise, paradise. Jamaica is our paradise. The land I love is giving me so much.
Caribbean leaders can no longer ignore the looming trade war between superpowers USA and China. At a critical turning point, Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness finally steps forward to address the crisis that threatens the entire region. What was once a distant clash between economic giants has now become our problem. Rising prices, unstable markets, and foreign pressure are squeezing small island nations, forcing us to make impossible choices. Will we be pulled into the crossfire, forced to pick a side? Or will the Caribbean stand together and carve out its own path? This is more than politics. This is about our sovereignty, our economy, and the fate of every Jamaican. Drop a like if you believe Jamaica must stand strong. Subscribe if you demand bold leadership that puts Jamaicans first. Because this conversation, it's just getting started.
And I'd like to invite my brother, Prime Minister Holness, to be able to address on the issue of the trade implications and aspects of the very challenging environment within which we have to prepare.
Let this soft mineral melt in your mouth to rebuild your gums and
other eventualities, but we do so with calm assurance. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Prime Minister Motley. First, let me say thanks to your government and the people of Barbados for the excellent arrangements and hospitality. My own view, Mayor, is that the meeting went very well. And I join with my brother Irfan in filing a claim to your Labour Department for having us work till 1 o'clock in the morning. But it was all good for the people of the region, and I believe...
I'm going to beg Prime Minister Davis to defend me. Thank you.
And I believe the people of CARICOM can feel confident in the leadership. The issues that were addressed were relevant issues for the development of the region, and we grappled with them in real ways to seek solutions. One area of grave concern would be the declared change in U.S. trade policy. Many businesses have reached out. The private sector is indeed concerned. I believe that the posture of CARICOM is that we must be prepared. We can't approach this with any panic, and we should also accept that with these changes, the concern shouldn't only be that there would be disruption in the normal routine of trade, but that there could also be great opportunities for the region. The region has a well-established office for trade negotiations, and it has worked very well for us, and we are using the incredible resources in that office to study the challenges that could come and to provide us guidance, all the governments in the region, guidance as to how we should structure our trade policy to both mitigate any fallout but take advantage of the opportunities. We will therefore be conducting a very detailed review of our trade situation with the United States, and we hope that in another 3 or 4 months we will have a document which will give us a policy direction and give advice and support to the governments of the region as to how to treat with any potential change that may happen in U.S. foreign policy. We also discussed issues of security, and I know that Prime Minister Rowley will deal with the security issues, but while I have the microphone, it is of critical importance that the region treats with the issues of gangs, and Jamaica has taken a very strong position on treating with gangs. We see gangs as an existential threat. Obviously, the ultimate case would be with the situation in Haiti. But we also see gangs acting in ways and committing acts that can only be described as acts of terror. And therefore, I have called in Jamaica, and I'm making the call now at this CARICOM platform, that there needs to be a global war on gangs in the same way that there is a global war on terror. If the gangs are allowed free rein, they will challenge the effectiveness and undermine states, which we are seeing happening not just in the region in CARICOM, but in the wider Central and South American region. So we discussed the issue. I believe there is general consensus that in addition to treating with the security issue from a public health perspective and treating with the root causes of social disenfranchisement and economic marginalization, that there needs to be a firm hand in treating with the gangs, particularly as it relates to the transnational element of the gangs, which means that the countries in the region will have to have greater cooperation and sharing of intelligence and resources in tackling this very grave threat.
The sperm that you were injected with actually belongs to David.
All right, my peoples. So I'm done. So that time here we are going down. I want to think about that. You know, my antennas, spider senses go up when I hear leaders talking like that, because what we fail to realize, the leaders, they know this, but what we fail to realize is that gangs are direct results of bad governance. That's what we have to recognize. And bad government, and they have never been able to deal with the situations of gangs, because they are directly responsible for it. So they are unable to deal with it. What usually happens now, they equip themselves and train themselves and go out with superior tactics in ways to just basically unalive, young black people who are frustrated with, the way their government is governing. And that's the reality of it. But, we'll have our leaders will come up on stage dressed up in their finest suits, illusion. And they'll make statements like these. And, you will clap because of the look and the sound and thinking that they're really saying something. Right? Now, how appalling is it that our leader, a man like Andrew Holness, come up there and make speeches like these, when we look at him and his administration and the way they have been operating, is pretty much like a gang, right? And the youth eventually, we're no fools, they can see it. So eventually the youth do what? They get frustrated, and they start looking for, ways and means to deal with their issues, their problems that they're having as a result of bad governance. Instead of, you getting up there and talking about how you're going to improve the educational system, improve the job market, which would directly impact the gangs, right, in the right way. You get up here and saying war on your own people, because these gang members are your own people. They weren't born into gangs, or they weren't born inherently gang members or gangsters. They were made that way by the conditions and functions of their society. And instead of you looking at the root cause, which would be people like yourself, no, instead you turn around and, as usual, put young black people, disenfranchised black people, fed up black people who don't know what else to do, right? Because even if they're to steal anything, you've made it so difficult for them to find anything to steal, because it turns out, our government is one of the biggest crooks in history. When we have situations like Usain Bolt's bank account wiped out, NHT, monies are being cleared out, the educational budget, the waterworks budget, the work budget in the past 6 to 11 years is missing over 3 trillion Jamaican dollars. I mean, it's not the gangs who's doing these things. It's not the gangs who are doing them. It's our leaders. So I say, people, the best way and the smart way to deal with gangs is to first deal with our leaders. We must take it upon ourselves to select and elect better leaders. We must find a way to break free of this system that presents us with the lesser of two evils. We need a system where the people can see and get to know the leader that they're going to select and elect before they do so. Because we never get to find out how evil they are, how corrupt they are, until they take hold of the reins of power. Then that's when we start seeing them for who they are, and by then it's too late. Because the same power that we have invested in them is the same power they're turning around and using against us and our children. When they say war on the gangs, they're saying war on your children's, because those gang members are your children. Right? The most effective war on gangs is education, employment. All right? We need a cultural sterilization right now from all the things that we have allowed, all the negativity we have allowed to permeate our culture, such as our music, which have been infiltrated and is being used as the most prevalent tool to mislead our youth and miseducate our youth. How about you start somewhere there and decide that you're going to clean it up? How about you start in the schools, and decide that you're going to fix the curriculum? How about you start in the garrisons, building better homes for these youths and better neighborhoods and garrisons, like how we see the uptown neighborhoods, how they look so pristine. How about you start somewhere there instead of just making the blanket decision that you're just going to take up arm and run out and start to unalive all of our children, young black youth. That is the attitude. And that is the results that we're getting from your corruption. So if we want to deal with gangs, we must first deal with the very corruption that breeds them. These are frustrated people, frustrated young people. And I envision that this is what it's going to just boil down to in the future. The war between the powers that be and the youths who are fed up and are labeled gangs, just like how they label those freedom fighters in Haiti as gang members and leaders. No. Those young men and women are sending a clear statement that they are tired of living with your boot on their necks. You understand? And the only way they can get a chance to breathe is by becoming what you now label them. Gangs and gang members. Less outside of that, They're nothing more than obedient slaves, brainwashed slaves, made and educated to be workers for all the days of their lives, never thinking free and independent men and women, always depending on you who has nothing but the worst and the least to give and offer them. That is a crying shame. You want to deal with gangs? First, deal with your gangster selves and your gangster administration, because your operation has been nothing short of gangs and gang movements. Lion Squad, we out.